Good evening, Internet.
What is up? Good afternoon, good day, good morning, wherever you are,
Indeed.
geeks. Hello. My name is Shauna. Pronouns, she, they.
My name is Joe. Pronouns, she, they.
And we are Mythic Geekdom. Hello.
We are in our segment Roll+Play, where we like to talk about all things tabletop RPG. We specialize in Dungeons and Dragons, and within Dungeons and Dragons, we specialize in role-playing.
Yes, proficiency in role-play, thank you.
Indeed. Although we're happy to talk about any topic that you guys have a question about and would like some help or some advice, some ideas to bounce off of in the TTRPG area. If you have any ideas, any thoughts, any questions, please type them in the chat, type them in the comments. We want to see your questions. We want to help you. We want to answer them.
100%. While you're doing that, and while we're getting set up, just have a few announcements at the top of this thing before we start talking about our topic for today. We have a Redbubble shop.
We do.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
There's some really cool stuff. There's a lot of tabletop roleplay / specifically like D&D kind of stuff over there. There's some fun stickers and things. If you watch a lot of the actual play of D&D that's on Twitch or on YouTube and things like that, there's a few special things over there. Also, for you musically inclined people, that also makes sense.
It's indeed.
We got cool pillows like this gelatinous cute.
I kind of want to hold on to this gelatinous cute right now.
You should.
Emotional
It's
support
gonna
cute.
absorb you and be
absorption.
the cutest
you
of
you want
Uzis.
this pillow instead?
Sure,
We can
yes.
trade. Why don't you have this cool
I'm gonna
pillow?
have
It's
this
got
pillow.
our logo on it.
Check it out in our Redbubble shop. It's redbubble.com/people/mythicgeekdom. We would love for you to check out all of the stickers, shirts, pillows, mugs on over there.
All that goodness. You can find that information in our link tree, which is in our bio and in our description.
Also, we have an affiliate link with Geek Grind Coffee.
Man, I love the coffee, you guys. And
I'm
I
in
love
love
this
with
coffee.
the coffee. It is an actual song that I sing almost every morning.
She does.
Because I do. I'm in love with the coffee and the tea. And Geek Grind Coffee is like, there's no exception to it. It's geeky themed. It's fantastic. That is the adventure collection.
I want a little bit of the Eldritch Fathom.
Eldritch Fathom?
Eldritch Fathom. I want a little bit of that right now. It just sounds good.
It's like this dark mocha-y goodness.
With a bit of caramel in there.
I think I would go for like a Frost Giant right now. Get some cold brew going on.
It's a little hot.
I love it.
I dig it.
Check it out at Geek Grind Coffee and use the promo code STAYMYTHIC, all one word, STAYMYTHIC, and get yourself a discount on some awesome coffee.
Yeah. Go ahead and check out that link tree where you can find the link to Geek Grind Coffee as well as the that promo code, and you can check out all the other links we have on there as well. You can check out our Facebook, our Instagram, our TikTok, our Twitter, our YouTube, our Twitch,
our
everything.
Patreon.
Guys, check out all that.
Check it out.
There's so much good stuff. We have lots of different content for you to enjoy.
Speaking of a lot of different content to enjoy, right here on this Geeky channel, we do talk, obviously, tabletop role-playing games. Today is my, day. I get to wear the crown of our Mythic Geekdom. My bun is my crown. Yeah.
Okay.
But I get to wear the crown of the Mythic Geekdom situation. Whereas on Sundays from 7 to 9
you
p.m.
wear the sash of dukedom. Yeah.
Sundays, you get to wear the crown.
Yes.
As we play some video games. JRPGs.
Yes.
We're going through Suikoden 2, which is a classic JRPG. Joe has played many time. And it is my first time ever playing because...
She's doing a great job.
I am a level 2 in video gaming. I'm trying to level up. I made a video game reference today with friends, and they were very supportive and very pleased with me.
Yeah,
and I was very proud of myself. So there you are. Come by, watch us play Suikoden 2. 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on this same geeky channel.
Also, stick around on Mondays from 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to watch Shauna do some drawing of some cool fandom characters, some fun, awesome digital art moments.
Yes.
With all the geeky themes. You guys can come along, you can join, you can draw too, or you can just chill, you can make your own art, you can clean out your spice rack, you can just take a bath and listen in. Whatever it is that you want to do to work on yourself, have a nice little chill Monday afternoon, because everyone gets a case of the Mondays once in a while, and this is a great way to relax, feel geeky.
Thank you for the
supported.
geek.
Totally join Shauna for that.
Agreed. I love
and you get to listen
people.
to my chill lo-fi that I wrote on that as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah, come on.
You know, level 17
good
bard,
stuff.
you got to use their magical, enthralling performance inspiration.
Yeah,
dice.
get that
So there you are.
D12 inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Got it, yeah.
I love it.
Okay, I think we're ready
Let's
to
talk.
jump into our topic, yeah?
I'm so ready to talk today about this TTRPG topic. I think it is an important. It's a hot take, as they say.
Yeah.
It's a hot take.
It's important.
We got plenty of things to say about it.
So let's talk about it.
Today we are talking about
Session Zero.
Joe, what is a Session Zero for people who do not know? Maybe you haven't been playing role-playing games. Session Zero is
when you get together with all the other players in the game and your dungeon master or game master, and you talk about expectations, hopes, boundaries, all that goodness.
Yeah.
And then you may have time where it's just you and the game master talking about specifics like your backstory.
It's the pre-game to starting a campaign or a one-shot or whatever it is.
In my opinion, it makes the entire campaign more enjoyable.
So you find it very important to.
I find it critical.
Do you think that it is for just like a long series campaign, or a short mini series, or a one-shot, or all three, or a mixture?
Okay,
where are you at? Where are you at on your feelings on that? Hi geeks. If you have any questions, by the way, put some questions in the comments. It can be about Session Zero. It can be about anything about tabletop role-playing games.
We want to answer your questions.
We want to answer. So please put it in the comments.
I would say that anytime you get together with a new table of players / new game master, I would say it is critical to have even just a little bit of a Session Zero. Just to talk about things that it's important to know meta-wise, and we can get deep into that when we start talking about all these different things that we can include in the Session Zero. But to talk about like backstory and everything, I think that's more of a campaign, like a long campaign type thing, perhaps a mini series, like a 8 episode.
We like to call it a mini series. If you have a one shot that's just one night that you're playing,
some people call it a one-off.
Or a one-off, a one shot. Then there's like big old long campaign. Some people do it for like many years or whatever. Mini series is what we call like anywhere from like two times playing,
2 times to like 10 times
10 or so.
playing.
Yeah,
we're gonna go from level 3 to level 8 and be done. You know? Yeah, and we're gonna go through it fast. So yeah, I think that a Session Zero, whether it's a huge Session Zero, really involved, where we talk about everything,
right?
Or just a tiny Session Zero, where we talk a little bit about our experience, our expectations, etc., is important anytime you get together with a new table of players. And then anytime it's a big campaign, definitely Session Zero with everyone, especially one-on-one with the DM to talk about backstory.
I 100% agree. I think that it's very important to have a Session Zero, even if you're doing a one-shot. If this is a new set of people at the table who've never played with each other before, and it's a new dynamic, I think it's really important to have a Session Zero. Does this have to be like a big old long session where you guys slog out a whole bunch of different things? No. Possibly not. But I think it's still important to have in there.
Man, if you're getting together live, You know, if you're at the same table together, make a party of it.
Ooh,
Yay!
ooh.
In-person gaming is happening again for some people safely.
Oh, I'm
get
so
vaccinated,
excited.
friends.
Yes, right.
But if you're at the table together and you're having your session 0, cool, chill around. You know, you can roll for your characters, your stats, all that good stuff. Talk about expectations. Have food, enjoy yourself, and then the DM and one player at a time can go off in a room or over to the side and talk about backstory, whatever. Yep. So it can all happen in one thing. But it can be fun. So when you are all doing the stuff together, and then when they're off doing stuff, you're playing video games together, or you're chatting, or, you know, playing a board game, doing something completely different.
Right.
It can just be enjoyable.
So talking session 0, what is important to have in a session 0? Mm-hmm. How do you start this thing off? What is supposed to be discussed at this session 0?
The first thing I would say is something that should really be at any meeting where people get together, and it doesn't feel quite so normal yet, but we're trying to normalize it and make it more normal for the sake of everyone, and that's names and pronouns.
Of players. We're talking of players.
Of players. Everyone gets together. If everyone knows their name and pronouns, cool. You're friends, you got together, you decided to play a game. But if you don't necessarily all know each other, hi, my name's Joe, pronouns she, they. And everyone goes around and says names and pronouns.
100% agree.
Let's normalize that.
Let's normalize it. Mm-hmm. Also, get the hard stuff out of the way. Talk about scheduling.
No.
Everybody hates it. I know. I hate it too. I hate
That's how you win at D&D, guys.
I hate it more than a shopping episode.
Playing.
Yep. I hate it more than a shopping episode, but knowing how everybody
family once a month, whatever, you know, just keep it consistent.
Knowing how everybody's comfortability is when it comes to playing. Some people are like, I want to play once a week, or I'm gonna lose the character, or I'm gonna lose what the plot was, or whatever. And then there's other people that are like, nah, once a month is good. We'll meet up every few months and then play for like a long time.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by scheduling. Are you your sessions? How long are those sessions?
Do you want to play for 2 hours, 4 hours,
12 hours? People do it.
What's your stamina level? What do you like to do?
I think it's super important. If you are, I'm not going to necessarily say that this is entirely on the GM, but if you are a person that feels confident enough to discuss this thing, sometimes it falls on the GM.
She points to herself because
I do, because
she's the GM.
I'm the adult in the room.
We're in.
I'm the adult in the room when it comes to
as if your players aren't.
No, of just like, hey, I'm gonna bring up the bad stuff. I'm gonna bring up the boring stuff of, are you good with this? What is our protocol for it? How do we feel about one person? If one person can't make it, is somebody taking over for that character? Is the DM taking over for that character? Are we pausing the whole night?
Yeah.
What is going on? That's the stuff.
Is that person like texting in?
That's in scheduling.
Yeah.
All of that is in scheduling. Mm-hmm. It's so important.
It really is.
Be on the same page about this. It sucks, but be on the same page.
And this goes for everything that's discussed in session 0. If you discuss it in session 0, it comes as less of a surprise later on in the campaign, especially with meta stuff. And it's so much easier to address it when someone steps on somebody's toes accidentally.
Yep.
Or there's less likelihood to step on someone's toes because we've already discussed these expectations. But I'm used to playing for 2 hours at a time. Well, I'm used to playing for 8. That's already been discussed. So when we get 5 sessions in and we're doing 6 and everyone's upset...
Yeah. And
no one knows why.
Yeah.
It's already been discussed.
Yes.
So it helps minimize these tensions that could pop up.
Go for the next one. That's all you, girl.
Playstyles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk about it.
So I feel that everyone needs an opportunity to talk about their playstyles, including the GM. And it's very much like it kind of piggybacks on the next one, which is what you like in an RPG. but I'm an intense role player, and I like to be in character a lot of the time. And do I get upset when other people are making meta jokes or are getting out of character or whatever?
Anachronistic things.
Or if someone else really likes to make a lot of anachronistic jokes and stuff. And that's just one example. How do you like to RP? And just letting each other know that ahead of time.
Not saying that any of these are bad and that like you can't make those because I'm in it to win it. No.
It's just, this is the way I've played in the past. This is the way I'm most comfortable.
I love to make anachronistic jokes. I love making
really
puns.
Don't like anachronistic jokes.
Just know that you're going to hear a lot of puns from me.
Okay, all right. So we are going to learn to work with each other, and I'm going to learn to accept some of your jokes, and you're going to learn how to feel maybe now's not the best time to throw in a joke and save them for another time.
Pick a good moment.
We're going to learn to try and be flexible with each other as we go forward. Or that's your opportunity to be like, wow, everyone at this table likes making jokes and I don't. Either I need to learn to deal with it and see if I can be more flexible as a player.
Maybe this is going to be my lighthearted
for me.
Campaign.
Exactly. Maybe this is my lighthearted campaign, and I have a different campaign where I can be more serious.
Word.
Or just say thanks, guys, so much. Maybe I'm interested in playing a one shot with you guys, but I don't know if I'm ready to commit to this play style. I still love you as friends. You know, so that's important to bring up.
Yep.
And playstyle is more than just you like being anachronistic and telling jokes, or you like to be serious, because in my opinion, the best table has a mixture of all of it. But that's my opinion.
Right.
There's more things to talk about with playstyle, but those are the only things that I can think of right now.
I think of things like, and I love to, as a GM, ask the table, what I'm gonna give you guys a series of things that will be possibly in the campaign, and I want you to rate them. The first one being the thing that you like the most in it, to 4, the thing you don't, you're okay with it in there or whatever, but it's not like your top priority, okay? All of these things can be in there. You can like them all. I just want to know where your priority list is. Is it RP? Is it combat? Is it intrigue? Is it puzzles?
Diplomacy?
Is it diplomacy?
Exploration?
Are you big on exploration and lore kind of stuff?
Learning about the world, traveling around and seeing all the different sites? Or is it just you tell me where we're going and I'm going there and doing it? Because what do you prefer? It's not bad to have a campaign. Yeah, it's not bad to have a campaign that is like, we want to be dungeon delvers. Let's do a big dungeon crawl. Yeah, that's all we want to do. We don't want to go shopping and spend time in the town. Let's hit and slog and hack and smash and do the thing. Yeah. That's what I want out of this campaign. Whereas other campaigns may be like, dungeon delve every now and again, but I want intrigue. I want the spy moment. I want like the political diplomacy. I want to try and seduce the Empress and get her on my side or whatever. And every campaign has different stuff. Requizzle1, I think that is Requizzle for shizzle, on Twitch says, "Hey, what's up, geek? So happy you're here. We're talking TTRPG. Put any sort of comments or questions about tabletop role-playing games, and we will try to answer them for you." Indeed. Cool. Yeah. So I think if you word it and say, what do you like out of your game? A lot of people are like, oh, well, I like all of it. And it's easy to get lost in the, give me all of it, whatever. It's much easier when you have a list of things. But if I give you a thing and I'm like, just put these in an order for me. Yes, I like it. Meh. I would put this at the top of the list. I would put this at the bottom of the list. Then you can get an idea of what people are into. If you start going around and going, okay, role play, combat. Okay, where are your guys' combat and where's your role play at? Exactly. Because is it like drastically different? Yeah. Or what's going on? Right. Yeah, so things like that. If you're a DM and you like to just give people a heads up of like
how your play style is.
I like to make a lot of puzzles. I'm not really about the exploration.
I like puzzles. I like doing that. Or like, just to let you guys know, I tend to do a lot of props. If you want props, that's cool. Some people are like, I'm gonna lose props. You hand me props, you hand me cards, I'm gonna lose them. But maybe there's somebody at the table who can be the like notes wrangler, the
lore keeper.
The lore keeper, yeah. Perfect. So that, you know, then you can kind of see where everybody else's strengths are.
I thought of another playstyle element.
Sure.
And it has to do with RP and backstory reveals, lore reveals about characters and things.
Yeah.
Do you like it when your DMs give you dreams and encounters with deity and those kinds of things where they reveal pieces of backstory or whatever to you as you're playing? Do you enjoy that as a player, or are you like, no, don't give me any of that stuff, I like to come up with it myself? Or are you the type of DM that likes to give those to your characters and considers them gifts, and you almost get upset when your character comes up with the dream for themselves? It's like, I'm supposed to give you the dreams as the DM. That's a simple idea of
Sure,
play style.
yeah.
And if you have different experiences playing in different campaigns with different people and different DMs before, then you'll have different expectations, and it's easy to get upset when things don't go the way that you have expected them to go. So communicating about that ahead of time, you know, how do you like dreams and mythologies and deific encounters in your dreams? Who do you like to be in control of that? Like it to be this mix type of thing.
Cool. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Other things that you should bring up at your session 0. What's your experience playing the game?
Have you played before? Have you played a different thing? Like you've played Pathfinder, but not Dungeons and Dragons 5e. You've played Advanced Dungeons and Dragons or 3.5, but you've never played 5e, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
What's your experience?
And this might feel like a call out a little bit, but players, as if you come to the table and you say, look, completely new at this, I feel like a lot more people naturally place that in the back of their brain, and for whatever reason, their patience meter gets longer for you specifically.
Exactly. Willing to help, willing to explain. This is what metagaming is when you accidentally do it the first time you play.
Exactly.
Instead of, oh my god, she's metagaming.
Yeah, exactly. Also, if you are that new player, like, how do you want to be supported? Are you cool with having an advanced player sit next to you or near you,
help you and give you advice
kind of
and
give you a little
suggestions
bit
in the
of
middle
advice?
of the game? Or is that just going to overwhelm you? And
or are
let
you
me
going to
figure it out myself?
Yep. Or is it maybe you would like the DM to do that? Maybe the DM was like, sure, I can take that. I can help you out a little bit. I feel comfortable helping you with that. Some other GMs would be like, I don't want to be on that side of the table.
I'm too busy doing GM stuff.
Right. Or just I don't want to put anything in your brain and push you in a way that you can do your thing.
Do you want everyone at the table to help you out when you get lost, or is that too many cooks in the kitchen? And so you talk about that ahead of time.
Yeah.
And say, you know, I'd feel comfortable having just one person help me. I'm playing a monk and I've never played. Oh, I've played a monk before. Oh, do you want to help me? Cool. So if I am getting lost with I don't know what to do, this one player who knows monk stuff is going to help me, and maybe all these other players have played monks too.
Monk
this
stuff.
person is the person who's designated to help the newbie, or that's all decided in your session 0. However that's gonna work.
Just an example, I had a brand spanking new player who was playing the cleric. How many times does that happen, friends?
It's a bit of a difficult and an important class.
It happens. It happens a ton.
Have it be your first time.
It's a hard thing to do. And
I just want to stay in the back and be the healer.
I discussed.
You'd think it'd be the easier one, but
But I discussed with this cleric, cool, let's do a thing. She mentioned that she wanted my help as the GM. If she wanted any sort of guidance or help, she wanted it to come from the GM. Perfectly fine. We made it kind of a mechanic within that game that if she was getting lost or she felt like
she didn't know what to do,
she wasn't sure where to go with this,
wasn't sure if she should roll for this or
she
how
can
that works.
spend a free action right now to pray to her deity, and her deity would be able to bring up possibilities to her. It fit in with the way the deity was created and what their sort of domain was about. And it felt it didn't pull her out of RP at all, but she still felt like, hey, here's a person who's supporting me, and they're just giving me ideas. You could do this. You could do this. You could do this.
These are some suggestions.
And she needed that help, and it really helped her along as a cleric.
Yeah.
So, just a thought. Cool. Yeah. Next thing I need to talk about. Oh, baby, is this one so important to me?
Yeah, me too.
So important to me. It is the RPG consent form.
Yep. Now, we want to preface this. There are some players and some DMs that find this a bit controversial. They're not a fan of the consent form. How did we put it? They feel like it could be dampening everyone's fun or stifling a bit, and I can understand why I can understand why that comes up. But I am of the firm belief that the more you have set limitations, the more freedom you have to play within those boundaries. Sure. If there's no boundaries, you don't know how far you can go or not go. And I feel it's safer and better and more fun. More freeing to have boundaries.
Hold your thought for a second, because I don't know if everybody understands what we're talking about.
Sure.
So the RPG consent form is basically, you can Google this, by the way, is basically a form that you can have all of the players fill out, and it will give you some harder topics that could possibly come up within your campaign, and you get to mark how comfortable you are with it being in the campaign. Things like play PC to NPC relationships. Really good with that? Okay, if it's in there, absolutely not with me. Don't have it towards me. Spiders, having things with trauma, clowns,
zombies,
all sorts of different things that could be just like a trigger warning to people.
Harm to certain types of creatures or people. How graphically they are described.
Talks of certain things that maybe those players are going through or have gone through. The people that are like, I don't know about these RPG consent forms, their argument is, well, you could work through that. D&D could be like a therapy session.
Your therapy. You can work through it right here at the table.
But that should be
yes and no.
That should be that player's decision. And if they're not ready for that, allowing the people, at least the GM, if not everybody at the table, if they feel comfortable, that is a thing that you don't want in there,
right,
is really smart. Because as a GM, you're like, oh yeah, I've got this cool plot, and it's gonna have Loth, and it's gonna do, oh no, we're not doing Spider Queen, we're not gonna go there.
I am okay if we talk about spiders and fighting spiders, but the moment a mini comes out of it, nope.
Yeah.
Theater
Not
of the mind
about
with
it.
spiders, please.
Not about it.
Please do not over describe how they skitter.
You can put that on the consent form.
And I do.
It's what it's there for. And the reason it's not just talked about and that it's actually on a form is so that people can go back and look at it.
It's also for the sake of anonymity. Some people don't want everyone else at the table knowing that they specifically have this issue with specific content. But they want everyone to know that someone has issue with this, or they want the DM to know that they specifically have that issue, and everyone else at the table knows that someone has an issue with it. So we can bring up the topic, but we can't talk about it in gross detail.
Right.
You know, and that's where it's like I'm thumbs up, thumbs to the middle, thumbs down. Yeah. You know, thumbs to the middle.
Green, yellow, red.
Yeah, I'm okay if it's brought up, but if we go into great detail, I am going to start to feel very uncomfortable.
Take Notes Guys on Twitch Mods says, I love using the consent form in my games, especially when I am DMing for a group I have never played that I've never played with before, because it gives me, the DM, a heads up of what they are okay or not okay to have in game. That way everyone is having fun at the table.
Exactly. And
precisely,
everyone deserves to have fun.
Including the GM.
Including the GM,
so,
including yourself.
Having that consent form, just being like, and it's a good thing if you're pulling people aside and going into another room to have like backstory conversation or some other things we're going to talk about. This is something that people can fill out while they're waiting for their turn with the GM or whatever. Right.
And everyone at the table can say, I'm comfortable with everyone knowing what's on my consent form. Is everyone, you know, or other people? I'm not comfortable sharing my consent form with everyone, knowing that it's my name, but I'm comfortable sharing it with everyone as long as our names are kept anonymous. Right. You know.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, one more thing on the therapy thing. Sure. D&D is therapy. Yes and no. D&D can be a great place for consensual catharsis. Yes. As long as it is addressed ahead of time and it's at everyone's comfort level. Yes. When the individual is ready for it and accepts it, and is prepared for it. It is never good if it is forced on you. And it also doesn't take the place of real life therapy with an actual trained and certified therapist.
Agreed.
Please keep that in mind.
Thank you for the Eric, Geek. Thank you. Yeah. Next thing you should have going on at your session 0, how you like to communicate about things, and what, specifically what you would like to have happen if there's tension at the table.
Yeah, this is specifically how we communicate meta-wise.
Yes. This means, because this naturally just happens. We talked
about it
happen,
earlier. Misunderstandings happen all the time.
We've talked about it on Roll+Play before, about dissonance and whether there's player dissonance, character dissonance, or story dissonance. And we're talking about player dissonance here. Yes. If there's a problem player to player, how we're going to communicate about it. Yeah. Who is there going to be a mediator? Is it the GM,
or is it someone else because the GM has enough on their plate already?
Precisely. Is it the friend who's a player but they're the one who brought everybody to the table, kind of thing? If there's tension at the table, like, are we going to pause the game right now, and are we going to solve this, or is
you guys
the protocol
text about it while the game is still being played?
Or is the protocol, I'm going to come to the player I have a problem with
during break,
and then if it happens again, then I'm going to go and have a mediator in? What is your process there? Yeah. And it's not to punish. It's not to point fingers and blame and whatever.
Out where the dissonance happened, where the misunderstanding happened. Someone was expecting something, someone else was expecting something completely different. Yes. And where did that
and what the process is
where did that communication get
how
crossed?
We're going to hash it out, because a lot of people, some people will just be like, I'm going to call you out right now. And that's how they work. I'm gonna call you out.
Some people,
hey, don't do that.
And then when that happens,
yeah, there's other people that are like, please don't call me out
in front of everyone. No.
Well, hey, that's how they handle.
Well, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Someone might respond with, "Don't call me out in front of everyone." No.
Yes. So, one of the things that we like to do at our table is a thing called 2448.
It's great.
It's fantastic. So 2448, and your numbers can be different here, but
this works with all kinds of relationships. Work, friends,
yes, 100%.
Partners.
Yes. 2448 is if something happens in game,
or in your feelers are hurt,
and players, I'm feeling bad about another player, about what they did. I'm fired up. I have 24 hours to see if I can just handle that myself.
Get over it. It's no big deal.
Maybe
I woke up tomorrow I feel better about it.
Exactly. Maybe just gonna let that roll off, and I just need a few minutes, and I'm gonna be fine. No worries, whatever. But if the 24 hours pass and I'm still feeling fired up about it,
still feeling upset,
you now have 48 hours to contact that person and be like, to let you know what happened in game last. Please don't do that. That
I didn't
that really bothers me.
That it upset me until about 5 hours after game ended.
Yes. I didn't say anything then because, you know, I was figuring it out myself. If you decide to not reach out to this person after that 48 hours, you're deciding that the time has passed, and that's gonna no longer be a thing.
Don't bring it back up to the table. Punitive place. You are punishing this person for something that you never gave them the opportunity to resolve.
Yes. If you then, we've all had relationships where you get in an argument.
I'm angry about you for that thing you did 5 months ago.
Excuse me, you never said anything. You can't do that. You can't pull that back up because you never talked about it in the first place. So now, 24, 48.
If it happens again, that's a new situation, a new scenario. And you're starting to realize, okay, the first time I thought I was going to let it go, it wasn't going to bother me. 48 hours passed, I let it go. But it happened again, and you know what? It is really starting to bother me. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to reconsider. So now you have another 24 hours and then another 48 hours to talk to them about it and say, you know,
figure
this
out your game
before, and I let it go. It happened again. And can we talk about it? Can we find a way that we can fix this? Does that make sense?
So it helps a lot.
It's not like you can never bring it up ever again. It's just you're not allowed to keep punishing someone for something when you never had communication with them.
Precisely. Also, the red, yellow, green system works really great.
Or the
when
X
it comes
card.
to having tension at the table. Red, yellow, green is very similar to a consent form, but it's actually in-game stuff.
How I'm feeling right now. How me as the player is feeling right
now. Guys, I've had a really bad day today. Here's yellow. I'm gonna put yellow status on the table, just so that everybody can see, wow, this person needs a little more time today. That's okay.
So maybe not the heaviest of RP moments with them, or you can just send them a little text or say, hey, are you okay? Are you okay with that, with heavy RP moments?
It's okay to. You're not putting anybody out. You are not putting anybody out by putting that card on the table. Don't feel like
your friends want to know how they can support you.
Exactly. It's 100% just I'm giving everybody a heads up. Heads up. Speaking of heads ups, you want to talk about your neurodivergencies and that kind of heads up.
That kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna read
when it comes to session 0.
Yeah, so I personally am a neurodiverse individual. Cognitive, emotional, mental processing disabilities, many different ways to describe this kind of thing. So this goes for not just people with my particular type of flavor of neurodivergence or disability, but anyone that may have any accommodations that they could need. So does anyone at the table have a disability? Linguistic differences. Maybe if the campaign is in English and English is not the first language of one of the players, they need a bit more help. Maybe there's a version that's in their native language that they can look at to at least help support them translate into English when they're talking with everyone
or
else.
Having more time. If there's like a timed
Elvish
thing,
becomes their native language.
But specifically, like if there's a timed puzzle or something, maybe this isn't the greatest situation for that. Check on that person before doing it.
They need more time, and having a time limit makes them shut down. Some people have difficulty picturing things in their brain, visualizing things in their brain, and they need an actual physical picture or map or something so they know what it looks like.
Saying these things at the table, by the way, isn't necessarily like, you know, look at me, whatever. It's or
I'm allowed to do whatever I want because I have ADHD, so you always have to excuse everything that I do.
It's not that. It's, as a GM, I love this because that I then make a note and go, have pictures of NPCs because this is what's going to help this person,
or at least
it's
look
not gonna.
Up on,
it's
on
never
Google
gonna
real quick and be like, this is what a Tarrasque looks like.
Yeah, it's never going to hinder anybody else's thing to have a picture of an NPC.
That's so great. Now everyone knows what they look like.
It's just like a marker. It's going to help them out knowing what's going on. Having an initiative order that's visual for everybody to see.
Drawing out the maps or something, even if it's just scribbling on a piece of paper. If you don't have fancy little whiteboard, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just drawing out a little thing on a piece of paper so the player that maybe has this disability to visualize things can say, oh, okay, I have to go here, take a right, take a left.
Other things that I've noticed, and I'm a very immersive.
Dyslexia.
I'm a very immersive GM, so I like putting a lot of stuff in, but some people can't handle a lot of flashing lights. They can't handle really loud music.
Yeah.
They can't handle certain smells. I'm very much down to like the food we're eating, the candle I'm burning,
thematic.
Everything's thematic. It's me. But I don't mind. I don't mind compromising for someone because I would rather you pay attention to the story. And if it's taking away from you paying attention to the story, then I haven't done the job I want.
Everyone gets to have fun, and everyone gets to have their needs met. And whatever everyone at the table can do to accommodate one another, that creates the best playing experience for everyone. And again, this is something that you can put on your consent form if you don't necessarily want to talk about it with everyone. You don't have to tell everyone at the table, hi, I'm autistic, or whatever your deal is. If you only want to tell the DM, and you don't even need to tell them why. You can say, guys, I really need pictures at the table. I have a reason why. I don't feel comfortable explaining. That's fine. You don't have to out yourself.
I am listening. I need to draw while we're playing game. Don't think that I'm not paying attention. It helps me focus. Or know that I have a hard time making eye contact. It's not I could be playing the most charismatic person, and they are like attribute charisma 20.
Woo!
Know that I might not make eye contact. That's me as a player. That's not my character.
Communicating these things ahead of time, asking for what you need, setting expectations, so no one's like, oh my god, they're always drawing, they're never paying attention to the game. What is wrong with them? Do they even like being here? Yes, they do. They
really do. But this is how this is their comfortability. This is their comfort zone, as it were. Great. I love that. I love being able to make accommodations for specific things and specific types of backgrounds that people are coming from.
This is a great place to get practice advocating for yourself, and a great place to practice supporting one another and being flexible.
Yes. Yes, I love that. Everyone should be able to have a little bit of autonomy and practice a little bit of autonomy.
Everyone's got something that they need support with.
Just gotta say, like, hey, this is me. Heads up.
I prefer not going past 11 p.m. I have to be up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Other things that can happen at session 0. You could talk.
Now we're getting into the fun stuff.
This is the fun stuff.
Yeah.
You could talk backstory. You can talk potential character goals and things, obviously with your GM and whatnot.
Well, but I mean,
also
if you're
possibly
starting
at
at
the
like,
table.
if you're doing a mini series or a one shot where you're starting at level 8 and it's assumed that your characters have been traveling together since level 1.
Yes.
You know, you want to have this little session where you're all talking to each other so we all know where we've come from.
Yeah.
We all know what we've been doing for the past year in game, you know?
Yes.
And then we're picking up right here at level 8 and where we're going from there.
I ran a one shot. That's a thing I've said a lot. Sorry. I just realized, like, wow, that was a very common sentence out of my mouth. Specifically, I ran a one shot that dealt with a whole bunch of characters that most of them have never met before, but they're all being called by the same person to go on this mission, kind of thing. Except for 2 brothers. And I specifically had like session 0.5.
Just for those
two brothers. So
those players had never met.
Right. So they can get an idea of how each other works. They can see where the vibe
They
is.
can build up a rapport,
And
chemistry between characters, between players.
I literally gave them like a super mini story / encounter that they could have, and they both decided, let's use this going into it. So going into session 1, everybody else is meeting and whatnot, and these 2 characters come in, the 2 brothers come in, and they're bickering about what just happened with that encounter that happened in session 0.
So now they have something that they can riff off with each other, you know. And if you and your fellow player have such a strong improv background that you can just riff right there and make stuff up, great.
Yes.
But not everyone is like that. So having a little something to work off of really helps.
100%. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't even have to be like a full session, you know what I mean? I 100% am under the idea that if these characters know each other for whatever reason, they've gone on a mission before, they're brother and sister, they
were rivals at school.
They ran or they like ran a secret society and then had a falling out or whatever.
Whoa.
You don't have to have all of what happened, but you definitely have to talk out and have something with between those players. Some people love to play that out and see, hey, let's try this out right now. So I get the vibe of who you are as the character, not as the player.
Right.
And we can try and like have that like where are my sea legs kind of thing now in session 0, so that when we get into that session, we get into session 1, at least that feels established and it's less work. You're going to be thinking about so many other things during session 1. There's going to be this plot coming at you or whatever.
Right.
That if you could take one thing off the list because it's already established and it's already helped, boom. And it's a fallback too. If you're a new player, like we were talking about before, if you're a new player and that you're the monk and that guy has played a monk but he's not playing a monk right now, and they're going to be your help, maybe you want to write in that that's your buddy or that's your sensei or your general or whatever, so that you guys have like a rapport and there is a story given reason to be able to rely right there.
Then you can give and receive help in game.
Yes.
Which is really helpful.
Yes.
Another thing that is great to do during session 0, and this will lead right into that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is to get to know each other out of game. If you already know each other out of game because you're friends or your colleagues or whatever the case is, then great, you already know each other. Awesome. But if you're just meeting each other, or you haven't had an awful lot of time to get together and just be friends outside of game, get to know who you are as people.
Yes.
And not necessarily your characters, because that's the biggest thing.
1,000% yes.
Because if your character does something that insults the other player's character, those players can take it personally because they don't necessarily know that it's just the players. So the more you know each other out of character, the better.
I see how you roll as a player. I see how you vibe. I see you as a person. So when you put that player on top of it, or sorry, when you put that character on top of it, when the character does something, I can tell the difference.
Exactly.
I can see, oh, that was the character, that wasn't the player.
Exactly. And then you're already friends and you already feel comfortable being able to communicate with them and say, are you okay? Was that all right? Are we okay? What's going on? Are you feeling upset today, or was that just the character? And if there's the yellow card or the green card, you know that was a green card, so they're not necessarily upset or whatever. Something happened and they took the green card and made it yellow. It's like, maybe something happened that upset them in game. Whatever the case is. And so a great time to get to know each other just as people is during the session 0.
Yes.
And this,
get some food. Grab yourself whatever it is, whether
play
you're
some
giving
Jackbox.
your pizza,
I don't know, just whatever.
or your snack.
Do something out of character.
100%. Like, and that's why having the discussion of like, hey, this is how I vibe. This is how I like my games to go, and you're kind of getting a feel of the players before you step into, okay, let's try a little something. Let's do a session 0 of you guys know each other already. You have this moment. You've known each other for a week, and you guys start to put on that character and start playing as the character. Then people can go, I see where it changed. I see where you changed. I see where you changed. And also, good time for session 0 and you being a character, play with those voices during that character.
Yeah.
During that session, sorry.
Yeah.
Session 0, that's a great time to go, I'm playing this character, but I want to know if I should use this voice, or
I'm no good at accents. I'm gonna try this. Is this okay? Do I feel comfortable talking like this for a while? Yeah.
Good
and
things to do.
something that can happen during that time is that's a great time for the DM or GM to take one player at a time.
Go talk backstory.
And go talk backstory. I
talk.
want to know from you as a
pointed question.
As a DM who makes amazing plots and does such a good job at taking characters' backstories and weaving them into the plot and giving your players little gifts throughout the campaign.
Thank you.
What type of... It's one of my favorite things about you. I love being surprised as a player. I love being like, oh, wow, that's so cool. My DM just gave me this gift that's so special. My character quirk or my character backstory is now important to the plot in some way, and I didn't have to force it. It was dropped in my lap by the DM because they paid attention and listened to my backstory at session 0, and I'm trusting them enough to let them give it to me.
Right.
I'm not having to force it. It's so cool. It feels like Christmas.
The question?
So the question is, what do you like to ask? What do you want to try and find out from your players with backstory talk?
Sure.
They tell you, this is my backstory. What more do you need to know? What do you want to try and figure out? What do you plan for?
Yeah.
Tell me what it looks like when you're planning and figuring out as a DM.
So,
how am I going to weave this together?
First off, I'm such a like... Your backstory is integral to the plot. I'm gonna need it way before this because I've got to now build the plot.
Yeah.
And it's gonna weave in what I need from everybody's backstory.
So anytime we change our backstory, it messes up your whole plot.
So sometimes, yeah. But more like I'm gonna need more than just session 0 to be able to have that. If it's a big long thing, I'm gonna take like. I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna do a just a Zoom call, you and me, so that we can talk about your backstory and what's going on.
That's so cool.
But things I do like to ask at session 0 when I pull people aside and I'm like, hey, about this thing, I want to know this. Can you give me these specific names? You're a sailor. Cool. What's the name of your boat? Who's your captain? What did you do on the ship? and who was your best friend on the thing. Just those. Just those. And then things like, I want to know, I love asking this question. If you could give me a theme or a jumping off point about your character, what world do they live in? Are they in Steven Universe? Are they in Scooby-Doo? Or are they in Assassin's Creed?
Muppets? Are they in Game of Thrones?
Yes. Give me that kind of thing. And people going, well, I see my character as Indiana Jones. That gives me an idea of what you're going for, and I have a vibe of your kind of person.
Now, of course, the DM is not going to make everything be exactly like your indie, so you don't get the cool whip and then nunchuck and then gun moment. We don't gonna have a
right. But when I narrate your stuff thematically, I know what I'm looking at.
The cool cavalier, like gunslinger, type of dungeon raider.
I'm gonna talk a lot about your cloak swishing and like big slides that you do and that kind of stuff. Whereas if you're like,
if your vibe is like
Scooby-Doo, I'm gonna be like, you do the like run, your legs run in place before this like burst of cloud goes off and then you're gone somewhere because there was food or something, Yeah. I don't mind it being different people in the same thing, but I know how to narrate for you. Yeah. So, and then I love being
my character in one of my campaigns is definitely the Game of Thrones character,
100%. And I know how to narrate for that.
Yeah. My other one's the charismatic bard.
We got some things in the chat here.
Yes,
Glossy Looking Nerdherder on Twitch says, I love all of this content. Setting up these foundations is so helpful and smart and fun. Also, I love your hair bun, Shauna. Thank you. And my big old hair bun. Oh man, my hair is so long now. I can just like.
It is so long now.
It's a big old whipped cream thing.
Take No Skies on Twitch says, if the player's backstory isn't available at session 0, how do you add the player's backstory into plot later on?
Yes.
Very good question.
I don't mind people. This is a really hard thing to say. I don't mind people going, hey, I realize this about my character and this is why they do what they do. But if you've left something intentionally vague, leave it vague for me, because I probably came up with something. If you have at session 0, this is just
as
me.
A DM.
And all GMs are different, so talk to your GM. If the player's backstory isn't available at session 0, hash it out with the GM. Go in the other room, be like, so, what were you thinking?
Come up with something.
What were you thinking? Well, I want this vibe. I want this Indiana Jones vibe for my character. Okay, cool. So, what do we want to do? Are we looking at like, you are, why do you want to go dungeon delving? Is this like a wanderlust thing? Is this a I'm all about the loot thing? Is this a repatriation? Thank you.
Repatriating stuff from taking from the museum and giving it back to the culture it belongs to.
What is the reasoning behind that? And you can work those things out, and that's going to help you go, oh, okay, well, you're probably a scholar of some kind. And you can kind of weave back and both write it down. I've had things where it's like there's a whole different culture that is going on with a specific character, and we've already started the campaign and we have a little bit of it, but I'm now getting ready to divulge a lot of stuff about this culture. I might pull that person back on a Zoom call or, go have lunch with them and discuss and be like, hey, how do you see this culture thing going? The thing I don't enjoy is like, I know that I said I was a treasure finder. I was an Indiana Jones type. but actually I'm more of a murder mystery. And I was thinking that my character's parents, who I said were dead, what if they weren't? Don't give me that. Don't give me what ifs. Don't tell me. I've already planned something. And here's the thing.
Surprise.
Yeah, here's the thing about that for me. I've worked something in, and now if it's not what you wanted, I feel like my gift isn't ever gonna live up to what you wanted. I know that's not what you're going for, and you're not meaning to do that, but it feels very like, hey GM, I got this idea. I think it's a cool idea. I don't know if I don't think or know if you have any ideas for this. And as a person who definitely takes players' backstories into consideration, I look at it and go, wow, this isn't what they said they wanted.
Everything I planned.
Or maybe they guessed it. Maybe I literally had it as, well, your parents weren't dead and they just guessed it. You've literally opened the Christmas gift before I could give it to you. So that's kind of where I'm going with
that's you as
just
a
me,
DM.
though. Yeah.
Some other DMs may be like, your backstory is yours. Change it how
Totally.
whatever you want to do. Go ahead and change it. Just tell me about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So really the main thing to answer your questions, guys, it's if you are the DM and the player's backstory isn't available at session 0, how do you add the player's backstory into the plot later on? Like Shauna was saying, you can try and discuss
weaving
it at session 0, try and
Yes.
get it out of them, try and help them figure it out.
Yeah.
But if there's just no way, maybe they come in halfway through the session or whatever, it can be created as you go, but it's communication.
Yes.
I feel that it's smart. Anytime there's a player that is reconsidering something about their backstory, and it's like, okay, you know what? Hey, DM, can we talk privately? If you've already got stuff set in motion, okay, I'll go with it. But I think I'm reconsidering some things in my backstory, and I want to know if you think that's okay.
Right.
And then they could be like, tell me what you have in mind. And then you can talk to them about it.
Yeah.
You know, once the ball's rolling, you don't necessarily want to go and completely change what has been. Now, if you want to change course midway, like, okay, so I was the Indiana Jones character, but things happened in plot and characters had different interactions and my character's kind of changing a little bit. And so now we're going to go toward the murder mystery, but we're not retroactively changing what was.
Yes. Totally cool.
You know?
That's easily...
How to weave in the player's backstory into the plot later on if there's just no way to figure it out ahead of time. That can be the right there. We're in the middle of the campaign. DM and player go have a Zoom call or lunch or whatever, chat by yourselves for a little bit and figure it out.
Yeah.
You're developing the backstory now, and how can we make it weave in with everything? It's like when people write prequels. You know, when they wrote, whenever a prequel movie is written, you need to make it make sense with the canon that already exists. And so, you know, if you have things that contradict a little bit, then okay, how can we find that contradictory thing and weave it back into what we know now? Well, they were the bad guy, but then something happened and then they became the good guy. So you can write that backstory like it's a prequel together to figure out how that weaves in with where they are at the current point in the campaign.
Right. Perfect. Love it.
That's all I got, man.
Yeah, that's all she wrote.
That is a strong session 0. Do we want to review everything? Just read what we have in the list.
Sure.
And go back and forth with it. Just to remind everyone. Yeah, player pronouns. Scheduling.
Having your different play styles. What type of play style, if you're a big RPer or whatever, or if you like lore or exploring or combat.
What is your experience playing TTRPGs? How can you support others and be supported as far as your experience?
Your RPG consent form and filling that out and making that happen. If you need an RPG consent form, just Google those. There's plenty of different types. Pick the one that works for you.
Discussion on who that RPG consent form is going to be shared with. Everyone at the table, just the DM? Are they going to be anonymous?
Think about how you communicate at the table with each other, and if
Meta-wise.
tensions arise, how will it be solved? Who will be there? What is the protocol? Like the 24-48 rule, the red, yellow, green rule, etc.
Discuss any accommodations that could be helpful for people that have disabilities, neurodivergencies, linguistic differences, etc. And give people the heads up. Again, you never need to out yourself if you don't feel comfortable, but you can always advocate for yourself and ask for what you need to be successful.
Any backstory, potential character goals, private things that you need to like go and talk with the DM about, history between characters if they've already been established as a connection of some kind. And then possibly even having a little mini game to try out all different things and who's helping who and who's got what role and what voice you're gonna use.
And lastly, an opportunity to get to know each other out of character.
Word. I love it. Fantastic. Session
Guys,
zeros are so much
this
fun.
helps you have a good idea of how a session zero can help make your entire RPG experience much safer, more comfortable, more enjoyable, less tense.
Yes.
Less confusing, and just all around more enjoyable.
If you have any other ideas or thoughts about what should be in a session zero, go ahead and put it in the VOD of this on our YouTube page, and put your comments in there because I would love to read them. I'm always looking for more things that can help make things more immersive, make things more comfortable when it comes to everybody at the table. And if you have missed any of the other role play videos, you can also check them out over on our YouTube page or our VOD on Twitch.
Indeed. Guys, be sure to come back on Sunday for our Suikoden JRPG playthrough.
We're doing voice acting for
7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then on Monday for Shauna's drawing session, art stream from 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you're getting in the comments. Check out all of our socials on our link tree in our bio and in the description.
Word.
It's good stuff, man.
It's all good things.
Like all the places, thank you for supporting us and keeping yourself informed on all the geekiness that's coming around in the geekdom.
Yes.
Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and until we see you next time,
Stay mythic out there, geeks, and roll with advantage.